everyone. It's about 11 a.m. on Monday, January the 8th, and this is DelrayVAWeather.com. I haven't done a video in a while, and I thought I'd do a little bit today because of the threat of ice accumulation on the roads later today. And I am a little puzzled by what I'm seeing in the model, so I want to go through that. The discrepancy I'm seeing could mean that we have a bust, or it could mean that we're going to have some glazing of the roads. Okay, what we have here is the latest HRRR. It's set for about 3 p.m. Today. And if you look here, you'll see this gray area over DC and Alexandria. That indicates some rain at that time. And it's currently set for a 6-hour total accumulation of rain. So we're talking about very light rain at that time. There's some discrepancies when you look at the HRRR through BuffKit as a sounding. And let me bring that up. Okay, this is the BuffKit sounding from HRRR. It's 14Z, the latest one that is complete. And currently I have this set for 3 p.m. today. And if you look here at the bottom, you'll see a red line and a blue line and a green line. And the red line is temperature at various altitudes above Reagan National Airport. And the green line is dew point, again, over Reagan National. And the blue is wet bulb temperature. So if you notice, we have a pretty big spread here between the red line and the green line at the surface. The bottom part where you see this brown edge here is the surface amount up here. The first dotted line you see here is 5,000 feet. So we're showing that it's a pretty big spread, and that means that the air is pretty dry at the ground at that point. Even though the model is showing a rain at this point, I have my doubts of whether it's going to reach the ground. You've heard the term virga. That's what I'm thinking, is that at 3 p.m., the rain may be in fact falling at 5,000 to 10,000 feet, but by the time it gets to the lower atmosphere, it has evaporated. So that's a caveat about this thing starting at 3 p.m. From radar, looking at the radar where the precipitation is right now, and counting, the average speed of a storm is somewhere between 20 and 25 miles an hour. Just doing that calculation, we're talking about 3 or 4 p.m. the starting time. But this is the thing, is that the atmosphere at low altitude is going to be pretty dry. And in fact, at the moment, the weather station is showing 33%, which is pretty dry. Okay, what we're going to do is advance this a little bit, and you're going to see, if you look, this happens to be relative humidity at different altitudes along here on the left. And if we advance this a little bit and you watch the very low left corner right near the bottom of this would be surface altitude, you start seeing a little bit of green in that area. And what that says is that the humidity is getting to the point where the rain could indeed reach the ground. But if we advance this one more hour, you'll see that this has really gone up in 1 hour. And I want to show you this over here. This indicates when everything is red, it means you have a chance for relatively strong precipitation. It can be moderate to heavy. In this case, I doubt whether it's going to be moderate to heavy, but it shows that the conditions are really good to get rain reaching the ground. And yeah, if we advance one more hour to 9 p.m., we're showing 2 green dots. This thing looks like it's all the way, has sufficient relative humidity all the way to the ground, from like 25,000 feet all the way to the ground, enough humidity. So definitely, by 9 p.m., there's a good chance we would see some rain reaching the ground. 8 to 9, I would say. Okay, as far as temperature is concerned, if we back it up here at 3 p.m., you notice this number here says 2, the -4 is dew point, but the 2 is the air temperature at the surface. And what this is saying is that the air temperature would be, that's 2 is centigrade actually, and the 2 is saying it would be probably about 34, 35 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface at 3 p.m., which is more than enough to, not warm any rain that falls up enough to prevent it from freezing on contact. Also, we've had such a long spell of frozen temperatures. The ground is pretty low temperature and deep. So it's unlikely, even if our air temperature gets up to like 37 degrees, whether that would prevent the rain from freezing on contact. So you should keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to show you one last thing. This is the Swiss HD model, very high resolution, and it's down to 1 kilometer resolution. And if you followed my tweets throughout the last few days, I've cautioned people about what I show whenever I show this model, that it's unproven. At least it's unproven to me, because it was not very accurate in predicting our last snowstorms. And so you need to keep that in mind when looking at this. But in theory, it should be very accurate because it's so high resolution. So what we have here, this is set, let me move this back to, move this back to 3 p.m. Okay, at 3 p.m., this is showing that the rain is just reaching the western part of Alexandria, and then slowly advances from there to cover the area, certainly by 5 p.m. Now I'm going to show you another feature here, and that is what amounts to precipitation type. Okay, what this is showing at 5 p.m. is pretty much all rain at the surface, and if we go back to 3, you're going to see patches of freezing rain. That's what the red signifies. And let's back this up 1 more hour. Freezing rain out here. The thing is that, again, this is based on air temperature, whether the air temperature is low enough to cause the rain to freeze. But in our situation, we have the ground so saturated with cold that it's likely going to freeze if any rain falls. So basically what I'm saying is that 3 p.m. is what the Weather Service is suggesting any glazing would start in Alexandria. But it may not actually start then. It may not start until later in the rush hour, like maybe 7 p.m. And it's actually conceivable, if you're out and about in the late rush hour or driving around after rush hour, that's when the most slippery spots will form. Okay, if you have any questions, just give me a tweet at PatPenn, and I'll try and answer them. Thanks a lot.